Hello, and welcome back everyone to your weekly MMA Wrap Up, where we discuss all things relevant to have happened in the martial arts and mixed martial arts world to have occurred within the last 7 days, give or take. And first up on our list today, we have an official piece of legislature deeming May 17th, in California only, to now officially be named as Bruce Lee Day. That's right, the Chinese-American Hollywood icon is being commemorated every year May 17th, given that it is his first day that he stepped foot in the United States upon his 18th birthday after growing up in China, specifically stepping foot in San Francisco. I think they've even erected a statue in his honor in San Francisco for this occasion. And this is happening for a multitude of reasons, including but not limited to his influence of multiple generations, encouraging them to better their lives through the martial arts, becoming the first Chinese American actor to break into major movie roles and become an A-list celebrity, and probably the most important, him being portrayed as not just some kind of sad or funny caricature, thus mocking the Chinese people. Honestly, before Bruce Lee jumped on the scene, they were mostly treated as jokes, not deserving of respect, pride, decency. And he pretty much flipped that all around and really represented the people well. And because of all these things, Governor Gavin Newsom has officially signed a piece of paper that basically said that May 17th is dedicated to you, Bruce Lee. Now, what does this actually mean as far as the day is concerned? Well, schools are first off encouraged to tell the students about Bruce Lee, encourage them to learn about him, maybe even have some school assignments based around his life and his legacy. Beyond that, not much. There's a couple of notes here about the law now having to recognize Lee's role in breaking entrenched Hollywood stereotypes and providing strong, dignified representation for Asian Americans. But I don't think that really has anything to do with the day, more so just what he actually did, which doesn't really impact what happens to anyone else during that day. So while you may not get time off from work on May 17th, you can at least do your job knowing that Bruce Lee is right by your side. At least if you imagine that in your head, not in reality. Moving on. Next, let's talk about the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, which just recently had their Liberty Brawl event, but unfortunately just prior to, we almost lost one of our headlining fights. At the weigh-ins, we had two competitors by the name of Pat Sullivan and Ruben Arroyo who were going to be competing against each other, but at first were competing for the spotlight. During the initial stare down or face-off, they did just fine, but once they started to face out towards the audience and cameras to get their glory shots, they began fighting for who's going to stand directly in front of the other. I know sometimes we see fighters posture by doing this and trying to elbow their way in front of the other guy so they get all the glory, but this one went a little too far as Sullivan ended up shoving Arroyo nearly off of the stage, which, could have resulted in injury and then no fight, and then people get pissed. And to this action, the president, David Feldman, promptly got in front of Sullivan and shoved him back, calling him a off. And I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't think any consequences came of this. There was no special punishment for this action. A lot of kind of just, I'm the boss, you did something I didn't like and now I'm publicly chastising you. Which, fair enough, that was a dickhead move. You shouldn't have tried to shove your opponent off stage. It almost kind of suspicious. I don't know how the fight went, but if he lost badly from Arroyo, makes sense why he would have tried to get him out of the game early. Let's take a look at the action.
And this is the last fight on the BKFC Liberty Brawl preview in the welterweight division. Pat O'Sullivan and Ruben Arroyo.
Hey, forward, guys. Yo. What the fuck you doing, man? Why would you do that? What the fuck would you do that for, man? What the fuck's your problem, you fucking punk?
Wow, okay, I learned two things. One, these guys weren't even close to being one of the headlining fights. They were like one of the first fights out there. Whoops. Also, Sullivan TKO'd the guy in round number 1 at 1 minute and 33 seconds. So I don't think he needed to kick him off stage to get him out of the way. He was just being an ass. Moving on. Our final big story today before jumping into our From the Depths of the Interwebs. I'm going to try and say it a little bit different every time I say it now. Put a little pizzazz on that. We have a fighter who got all the way past, I mean, this is the worst I've seen of a fighter quitting, by the way. We got a fighter who made it all the way past the contract signing, all the way past the weight cut. He cut weight to do this, by the way. He suffered to do this. It doesn't make any sense. Got all the way past the press conferences, if they even had any, made it all the way to the cage. I'm saying it like this so you guys recognize how much time he had. And then he gets all the way inside. They go through all the introductions. The guys even bump fists. Ref says go, and he drops immediately to one knee and taps the floor. To which, if you don't know what that means, maybe you're kind of fresh to the sport, that is someone surrendering. They quit. When you tap the floor and there's nothing attacking you, that is indicating to everyone else, including the ref and the officials, that you do not want to fight. For whatever reason, we've seen it play out in cases where one guy was battering his opponent so bad and the ref was doing such a poor job of stopping it that he's like, I don't want to keep giving this guy brain damage, so tap, 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 we're done. And that was a very respectable thing. It got him a lot of press, actually. That was a relatively famous amateur or low-level pro fight. But this time, that was not the case. As at the Lions fight event in Manaus, Brazil, sorry I had to look at it directly to make sure I didn't say anything wrong there, the fighter by the name Michael Pantoja did exactly what I just said earlier by tapping out basically within the first second before he's even touched by his opponent. Now, the ref didn't actually recognize it immediately, and so the official time of the quit says 7 seconds in, but it was really just immediate. The ref said go, and the guy fell down, and that's the end of it. Here's the video.
E aí, ele, o árbitro Murim.
Now, as far as why he did this, in a post-fight interview he gave, claiming that it was due to a motorcycle accident that he just simply could not recover from. And the writer of the article I'm getting this information from makes a very good point, and I want to kind of expand upon it. He wrote that by not quitting and making it all the way to the fight event and then technically losing the match, he was still entitled to be getting paid from that match. And the author was making an argument that the company should not have to hold up their end of the contract, as technically the guy did not fight for the pay. And while I'm not a lawyer, and so I cannot discuss the kind of litigation required to get into that and maybe get some money back for the company or not have to pay the fighter, I will say that that kind of makes a lot of sense. I mean, again, the guy had X amount of time, meaning longer than a week, to prepare for this. He had long enough to get in a motorcycle accident, recover-ish, and then step in to have this fight, and didn't tell anyone that he basically wasn't going to fight. He wasted a lot of time, a lot of preparation, a lot of money, a lot of energy. Guy's an energy vampire for this.
One of the best ways to drain people's energy nowadays is via the internet.
All because he can make a few bucks and not get hurt in the process. And to that I say, you wasted everyone's time. I understand desperate times call for desperate measures, but, still a
Why are you such a jerk?
Now let's get into our From the Depths of the Interwebs. That was a terrible segue, Bear. What are you doing? I'm sorry I didn't have a better one, folks. We have UFC superstar middleweight champion Sean Strickland, of course, choking out a fan on a beach. Check it out.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! No! 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 Hey, clap it up!
Ian, you got it.
Now, as far as I can see, he was definitely not getting choked out. That was again, very dramatic language. He just got his back after doing a hip toss on the poor kid and put a rear naked choke in for a couple of seconds, and then as he's walking back, he let go, and the kid lost his balance and fell over. He was perfectly fine after the fact. The kid probably instigated the match by asking Sean to participate in it, with both knowing full well what was likely going to happen. But hey, isn't it fun to get strangled by your icons? Nope, that's weird. Okay, fair enough. And with that, everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this week's weekly MMA Wrap Up. Thank you for sitting through all the hysterics and all the commotion, of which there was none, but mostly just enjoying the time in the video and supporting the non-profit that this channel supports by watching the video in its entirety and getting to this point right here, which if you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. Oh, and the non-profit supports people learning martial arts at no cost. That's what we do. We teach people how to hit each other for free. Thank you for helping us to do that. And again, we're opening up a new location in Sydney, Australia soon. So, if you're out there, particularly at Mountain Druid, we got you. And as always, remember to eat well, sleep well, train hard, and we'll see you in the next time. Take care. Mixed Schlarts? Wow. Is it Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship? It's gotta be, yeah. Ruben, I wanted to call him David. A little too par? Definitely bleep everything but the word off. Totally lost my train of thought there, wow.